I want you to kind of time travel back because the listeners of this podcast, they may have you as a child version in their house. I want you to kind of tell the story and depict. Were you like the smart ass kid? Were you the kid that was a class clown? Were you like a leader? Like, I mean, obviously you're all these things collectively today, but were you that representation as a younger individual?
No, I was painfully shy. Uh, I was small. I skipped the second grade and I wasn't that big to begin with. And I went into puberty late. So I hit high school at 13 years old. I'm 4'11", glasses, just like a miniature Fred. And didn't hadn't picked up a lot of social skills or anything. There wasn't a lot of that. Grew up in a very small town. There were no sports teams or anything like that. And so what happened is I started to discover my sense of humor with a small group of people that became my very close friends. They are still my friends today. Uh, and but I started to feel my intelligence and creativity and wit come to life, but I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't know where else to go except to be, with this small group of people. So I didn't develop those social skills. What I tell people, they say like, well, how do I help my kid become bolder? And I say, really gradually. Don't push them beyond, so far beyond their comfort zone that they retreat completely away from it. Make it easy. Say, just teach them to make eye contact with people when you go to a restaurant. Say, just look at the waiter. Okay, next time you're going to tell them what you want, and next time you're going to say it in a loud voice. Right. And you work your way up, and you could have a kid that's a good friend of mine. She just told me this story, which was fascinating. Her parents never repressed her boldness. And so she was getting into kindergarten, trying to get into kindergarten, and that they were interviewing to get into kindergarten. And at the end of the interview, they said, we're not going to be able to accommodate you. We're full up, taking care of our own, the people in our church that and their kids, and you're not a member of our church. And she says at 5, well, did you know that I am the piano performance champion for my age group of 5 to 6? This is what she comes up with. She's like decided, how can I add value to this school at 5? And instead of go, oh, they're not gonna let me in, she just went, well, let me see if I can spin this my way. The woman says, really? Do you want to play piano now? Yeah. So they walk into another room where there's a piano. She plays a little piece for the woman, and they said, oh, thank you, that was very nice. Gets a call at home that night. We have room for your daughter. And it's like, so she got massive reinforcement at that age for speaking up, for just like saying, you know what, you don't see me like you should. here's something else about me. And she's been bold all her life. Now, what happens to most of us is that we miss the opportunity, so we don't get the reinforcement, and we kind of feel we're like, oh yeah, that wouldn't have gone well, and no, they weren't interested in me, they didn't want me, and so we start to close in, and we start to play it safe. She's learned to embrace her discomfort zone and getting more comfortable in it. It gets wider and wider the more you do it. So give your kids the room, and you'll have kids who go both ways. Kids who are just naturally outgoing, don't repress it. If their teachers try to repress it, you call them the teacher aside and say, do not do this to my kid. Okay. Or when the kid comes home, you say, that teacher, it's kind of a shithead, right? So you don't have to listen to her. You can be quiet in her class, but I don't want you just feel like you need to only speak when you're spoken to, or something like that, or you can't say something funny or something. I'm fine with it. Just know that They may want to punish you. I'm never going to punish you for that. I'm going to encourage you. I heard an amazing story from Sarah Blakely, who started Spanx,
Thanks.
created Spanx. She said at the dinner table every week at the like Friday night dinner, she and her brother would be asked by her dad, "What did you fail at this week?" Every week, and if they didn't have something that they failed at, he was disappointed. But when they said what they failed at, and he was, "Oh, all right, that's interesting that happened. Is there anything you can learn from that?" And so she grew up believing in failure as a process.
Yeah.
not as something to be ashamed of or embarrassed about or beat yourself up about or retreat from or avoid. It was like, no, this is how you get better, which is true, right? I mean, it's and that's why, these boldness exercises, it's like that I have in the book, they're designed, many of them, for failure. You're looking for somebody to either not respond to you or respond weirdly to you, so that you say, I was intending for them to not, like one of the exercises is to walk into an ice cream shop and yell at the top of your lungs, "I love ice cream." Now, there's no law against that. But there will be all sorts of reactions. There will be people embarrassed for you. And it's like, why are you embarrassed? I'm not. You're embarrassed for me, but I'm not embarrassed. And there'll be other people that go, yeah, I feel very much the same way about ice cream, because they're in an ice cream shop. Yeah. So you're just, I was at a convention recently, and guys who had read my book, one of the guys just turned to me, he's working there at his booth, and we're out in the exhibit hall with all these people. And he says, "I want you to yell, 'I love ice cream' right now." And so I did it. And a bunch of people looked around, and he was like, "Oh yeah." And he said, "Now I want you to yell, 'I love thongs.'" And I said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that I recall.
Because that's not bold. Right. That's just dumb. Yeah. Right.